Hey everybody, John here at Havoc Maker Studio, and today we're going to do a series of videos, some good, some a little bad. We're going to be calling out a couple companies and highlighting some of their mistakes, but I want to talk about the good first because I want to start off this Wednesday, the Hump Day, perfectly. So here at Havoc Maker Studio, I'm always looking forward to what new miniatures are coming out, what new RPGs, what new novels, movies, video games, whatever is going to interest you and interest me. Mainly interest me, and I'm hoping will interest you. I'm a little selfish that way, but we're all a little selfish. So let's take a look at right now with Games Workshop. This is going to be the good. We're going to talk about good. So this coming Saturday, that is April, goodness gracious, 17th for the April 24th release, provided everything goes well over at Games Workshop's distribution. We're going to be seeing a number of Age of Sigmar releases. And I'm going to go over them. I'm going to give you some price points, and then we'll move on. So this week's pre-order starting Saturday, so you have to wait till Saturday, and check with your local stores. A lot of local stores, like the one I go to, the Atomic Hobby Shop in Cypress, Texas. I know they offer a 10% pre-order as long as you pre-order by the following Wednesday. So that gives you about 5 days to pre-order. I know other stores like Eden Games and Hobbies. I don't know if they are doing the pre-order. They might. You can always ask. We got Fat Ogre Games and Comics. We got Asgard Games, Gold Mine Games. We actually have a plethora of game stores here. I mean, heck, just right down the road from me is Dragon's Lair. I mean, I could throw a stone. I've got Game Store, and I'm lucky and I'm bragging, yes. But check with your stores to see if they'll give a pre-order discount. What's 10%? That's hardly anything from them, but it really helps you and gets your loyalty. So up first is going to be the Bellacore. I've talked about this before, talked about this on Monday on the live chat show that we did on Twitch instead of painting. Bellacore is going to see, let me check my sheet here, it's going to be sitting at $140, which is actually about $20 cheaper than I expected. He looks to be about the same size as a lot of the Demon Princes right now for Warhammer 40,000, maybe close to the same size as the Bloodthirster, or maybe the Changer of Ways for Tzeentch. I'm not sure. I don't have an actual height requirement. I can guess, and that's where we're at right now. But $140 for this model, it's definitely steep. It's definitely a steep price. It's what I expect for their big models, though. So me saying, I expect it, then yeah. And this is where that pre-order 10%, 15%, which 15% is the maximum that they're allowed to advertise. But I think at 10% off, I mean, they're losing $14, but they're making a lot more, trust me. So $140, not too bad, not too bad. It comes with a Primaris Lieutenant, so don't freak out if you're looking for this guy for Age of Sigmar. If you can see on the base here, he's got a dead Chaos Warrior on there. It comes with parts for both Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar, so it can be fantasy or Warhammer 40,000 related. So don't panic. Now the Broken Realms book is going to be $40 for the standard version. That's on the left here. On the right is the limited edition book, which just because of that cover warrants that book being $80. You all probably know my policy or my belief on them overcharging these books. So let's move on before I start going on. Let's take a look at these two characters. Gardas Steel Soul, that's going to be on the left, and on the right, and Cruel Gast Crusader is going to be on the left. Both these character models, one for the Stormcast Eternals, the other one for the Night Haunts, are going to be $35 each. That's very typical pricing for individual character models. I like the dynamic entry that they have going on there for the Stormcast Eternal, but I'm going to tell you right now, the Night Gaunt one has got me a little interested. It's definitely weird, and it's got a wonderful flow to it. So miniature wise, it's a little bit more tantalizing to me from the hobby aspect than the other one. So moving on now, this is the one a lot of people have actually messaged me about, or we've chatted in person. These are War Scroll battalions that are going to be coming out alongside the Broken Realms book, which the previous two Broken Realms books always come out with about 3 to 4 of these War Scroll battalions that's kind of focused on that particular element of the story. And these are actually very good deals besides the current Get Started boxes that they have. So the first one, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the names, but the first one are the Demons of Tzeentch. Let me go ahead and click on it so we can get a bigger picture there. So you're getting a box of pink horrors and then a box of blue horrors with the brimstone horrors. Those are the little ones on the right and the former on the left. And then the Chariot of Tzeentch, it is $80, which seems like a lot for about 30 models, which, yeah, okay, it is, but the actual retail value of this box, if you bought those all separately, is $120. Now, Warhammer 40,000 players, this is still good for you, especially you demon players, your Chaos Demon players. Those are staples. Those are all staples of a demons or Chaos Demons army for Warhammer 40,000 or for Age of Sigmar, especially you Disciples of Tzeentch players. This is a great box, just kind of boost your existing army. And when you're saving $40, that's awesome. And I tell you what, if the store will give you 10% off, at least 10% off a pre-order, and now that's another $8. So now you're saving almost $50 on this. There goes your you already paid the taxes. So congrats. The Seraphon one is featuring the one Bastiladon and 2 of the Stegodons with the various versions that you can make in the box. That box is $130, a little bit more, but you're saving $50. The actual retail value is $180. That's a good deal. Once again, you tack on a 10% off, and now you're saving another $13 approximately, at least here in the US. So that is a $63 value. That's good, guys and gals. That is really, really good. The other two that are going to be released, there's one for the Night Haunts. And this is kind of one of my favorites because it's got a lot of the miniatures that I would like to be able to paint. This one is sitting at a, let me double check what we got here. Night Haunts. It's a $90 box at a $120 value. So you're saving $30. Not as much as the other ones, but once again, these are staples for a particular, this particular army for Night Haunts. And if you use the War Scroll that you're going to find in the Bellacore Broken Realms book, you're going to already have your starting force. So if you don't, if you're not interested, I get it, but I would highly recommend it, especially even if you don't play Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar or any of these battle games. If you are, say, playing Kings of War, or maybe you're a Dungeons and Dragons player, or if you got a fantasy game, here is a box full of ghosts and banshees and basically a boss for your boss fights. I know that's more of a video game term, but the value in this box gets you all these models. You're saving $30, plus if you got a pre-order price, or maybe you have a special membership at your local game store, which I think game stores should do, like a loyalty card. This is actually a very good box for you. The Caradon Overlords, these are basically flying dwarves. They use their tech to fly around, so no more digging around in mountains. They are one of the newer, I guess, factions for Age of Sigmar. In the old fantasy world, the dwarves were mountain dwelling and seafaring. Here, they are more running around in basically volcanoes and in the air. Big flip around, but very cool still, their kind of whole background story. Now, this box is $80. And yes, once again, $80 for, what is that, 7 models? A little steep. But you're also saving $43. Retail value of this is $123. That is a good deal. It's still a good deal to boost your army. I mean, you're saving, unless my math is wrong, $43. It's a good opportunity to get knee deep into this game. So let's move on from Games Workshop. We got two other companies, but three other product lines I want to talk about. We have Mr. Sinister coming for the Marvel Crisis Protocol game from Atomic Mass Games. Mr. Sinister, if you're not aware, he is a big villain for the X-Men and X-Factor, particularly the Summers family and the Gray family. So Scott Summers, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Miss Marvel, or sometimes it's the Phoenix or the Black Queen at one point. We also have Havoc, which I'm hoping will make it to Atomic Mass Games, Marvel Crisis Protocol. And we have Adam X and a couple other family members, Rachel Summers, Hope Summers. But we're not going to get into that whole family tree. We're going to focus on Mr. Sinister. Now, he is now a mutant, but he started out as a human. I'm not going to go into the whole background, but basically Apocalypse, the big bad, big bad, big good, depending on your point of view, basically souped him up, and then he souped himself up with mutant genes, and he is a crazy genius, responsible for a lot of bad stuff in the mutant world. Now his model, dude, I love his model. It is very awesome, and they make it look like he's coming out of one of his vats, like he just this is one of his cloned bodies, and it's just emerging like, well, y'all effed me up. I had to pop out of my one of my clone test tubes, whatever you would call those, and here I am to mess you up. His model is very sinister looking. I think they really captured the essence of the model, but we're not here to talk necessarily about that. We're going to see more of that model in the near future. Now, he is a big proponent of acquiring genetic DNA samples and everything from mutants, because he wants whatever it is whatever drives him. I don't know if he's a sociopath, he's a psychopath, he's somewhere in between, but he likes to get DNA samples from mutants because he wants to splice them together, make some new mutants abilities, maybe clone some new type of mutants, or he wants to add it to himself. And it's going to be reflected in the game. So he's going to have this unique resource that only he's going to have access to, called genetic samples. And as he plays the game and does certain actions, he's going to get up to 3 genetic samples that he can turn around and spend these tokens, essentially, to get some boosts to his abilities or maybe affect his opponents. So how does he do it? Well, we don't know all the details yet, because this is just kind of a preview of his character. But he's got basically an ability called genetic splicing, and this is probably going to be his basic attack. So likely will not cost anything. It is a mystic attack. If you're not familiar with the Marvel Crisis Protocol, you have physical attacks, you have energy attacks, and you have mystic attacks. And so his is a mystic attack, range 4, which is a big range. I want to say it's almost 10 inches, and it's a beam attack. So everything along that way is going to take that hit. Now, after each attack is resolved, he's going to get a genetic sample token. So he's going to be pretty much getting these tokens every turn, and up to his maximum of 3. Now, he can turn around when he has at least one of these samples, and he can burn it, sacrifice it, whatever you want to use, whatever terminology you want to use, to restore his body to health. Now, does that mean he's going to heal up a couple of his wounds? Does that mean he's going to get full health? I doubt the full health, but it might, he might be able to remove X amount of damage. Maybe 2 damage per token. That seems fair to me. I mean, it's a little bit powerful, but it seems fair. He can cripple one of his opponents. So that more likely means he is going to be able to burn the tokens or use the tokens to inflict, say, bleed, stagger, stun, some sort of status effect, or maybe use all 3. We still don't know yet, but use all 3 to instantly put a character on their injured side or their dazed side. I don't know. Or simply here, they have unleashed the samples collected into a devastating shockwave of recombinant disintegration. essentially corrupting the DNA he holds. It's a strength 6 attack. It's a mystic attack. And that strength 6 means you're going to be rolling 6 dice to see how much damage you actually do, which with critical successes could be up to 12, potentially 12 damage. This area attack has a range equal to the number of samples, so that's huge. Range 3 is pretty big if you use up to 3. If the attack roll produces a combination of results, each enemy character within range suffers 1 damage. That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. So we got more coming down the line. We still don't know everything, and this is just a hint. I imagine tomorrow or maybe about this time next week, we're going to actually see what rules that Mr. Sinister has, and of course, we're going to cover it here. All right, so we can keep moving on. Let's go ahead and talk about Steamforged Games. If you're not familiar with Steamforged Games, they put out a lot of board games, a lot of fantastic dungeon crawling board games, everything from Resident Evil to the upcoming Monster Hunter board game that's going to go on Kickstarter on April 20th. So I'm super excited about that because right now the miniatures are looking exquisite. So why am I going to be talking about this? They have a number of things that are really ideal for you role players. So thank you for sticking around, role players, especially you dungeon masters. So first I want to talk really quick about the upcoming Monster Hunter Kickstarter that's going on the 20th. You can see right here the different types of miniatures. If you're familiar with Monster Hunter, and head on over to the Kickstarter once it launches, take a look at the gorgeous models, and it's probably the cheapest way for you to get a bunch of badass monsters for your current game or maybe future games, where instead you buy them individually from other companies and you're going to pay quite the premium price. Looks like the initial box set's going to have a bunch of characters, which that's going to be good. And then, okay, we got it right there. We're going to have 8 hunters, so that's 8 player characters if you look at it from that perspective. 1 large monster, so it's probably going to be Diablos, a big dragon creature. 7 extra large monsters, and then 1 extra large monster. So I might have flipped that. So that means you're going to have tons of dragons and weird monsters that you can easily incorporate into your role-playing game, whatever role-playing game you have going on. And I can tell you right now, once this drops, I'm not going to be surprised if a company out there, maybe even Steamforged, writes a 5e supplement. So you Dungeons and Dragons players, or the ones that really love the Dungeons and Dragons rule set, very likely, I would say within sometime this year, is going to be able to dive in, which is going to be perfect if you get this Kickstarter. Now, the one thing I really wanted to kind of focus on with them are their epic encounters that they have. Oops, come on. Let's go to the shop. All right, so they have this thing called Epic Encounters, which you Dungeons and Dragons players or you fantasy... Hello? Can you please go to the website? Thank you. All right, so right now they have Kobolds and Dragons, Orc and Frost Giant, Goblin and Hydra, Snake God and Serpent Folk. So these are all two different boxes. They're anywhere from $30 to, I believe, $50. And we're going to go through some of the boxes. I think this is a great way to get a lot of models really quick, and especially for your setting. Especially if you are featuring orcs, goblins, kobolds, maybe snake folk, or I guess serpent folk, or if you're using Dungeons and Dragons, the Yuan-Ti. So let's take a look at some of these. I think this one's from the kobold box kobolds and dragon. I could be wrong. It looks like it's a basilisk of some sort. I think that's great detail. A lot of amazing detail, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to keep moving on. This one right here is, I believe, the last one with the serpent folk. It is a giant snake, and it is a large model. This is a very large model. This one is sold separately from the other box set. I'm going to show you, we're going to kind of focus on the goblins here. I might have to scroll from side to side because it's a very big picture, but the box gets you all sorts of goblin warriors, shamans, frog riders, which, if you need these for your game, this is just a wonderful big boost to instantly having all those miniatures readily available, especially if they're frequently featured in your game system. They could also make great character models for those of your players that, especially you guys that are doing Pathfinder. I believe goblins are a playable race, or any other types of games out there that allow goblins as a player character race. And then here's the Orcs and the Frost Giant. I'm going to first let you take a look at this amazing collection of groups. The Frost Giant is sold in a separate box. Everything else is sold in its own box. And you'll find out with each of these different epic encounters, there's 2 boxes, one with the big bad, and then the other box is everything else, which are almost 24 models. So let's zoom in as much as I can. That Frost Giant is wicked. I mean, I would love to paint that as a hobbyist. I would love to get my hands on that. But these orcs riding polar bears, look at these orcs. These are epic orcs. You have a variety here from kind of elite boss type, and I don't want to say elite boss, but elite type, to the grunts, to a war chief, a shaman, and of course, orc bear cavalry. I mean, who doesn't like orc bear cavalry? Well, probably players. Players don't like orc bear cavalry because who wants to face armored orcs riding giant polar bears? Or if you want to make them look like they are grizzly bears, cave bears, whatever. Now here, I think this is the kobold set. Yes, so you got a little basilisk on probably about a 50 millimeter base. And then you have the variety of kobold warriors, and we're just going to kind of look through them all here real quick. You have some kobolds that are riding giant fire serpents. You have a winged, probably a kobold boss, archers, shamans, champions, some spellcasters, thieves. This is a wide variety of characters and creatures, especially if you're able to use kobolds as a player race. But look at this dragon. This dragon is massive, and it comes with a pile of gold already. It's on a pile of gold. That's awesome. I would love to paint this model too. Now, let's quickly go over and just take a quick look. So the dragon itself is $50, which that looks like a very massive dragon. Let's see if we can get some details on that dragon. So you are going to get a game board to go along with that. But what's in the box? That dragon has a wingspan 11 inches. It's almost 5-inch tall model. That's a big dragon for $50. That's awesome. I think that's well worth it. I think that's really well worth it. Holy crap. So they've got a lot more of those type of models coming down the line. I want to leave this on that dragon. That is a beautiful dragon. So they've got a lot more coming down the line. At Gamma this year, they already announced that they've got a giant spider and its associated creepy crawlies that are going to come with it. I only highlight this mainly for the role-playing game masters, dungeon masters, but also all of you that are playing like Kings of War, whatever fantasy skirmish game or fantasy battle game. This is an alternative to some of those models. Like, think of these kobolds as alternates to, say, the Seraphim or the Lizardmen, depending on which universe. You got the different types of orcs. Those could replace the orcs from Age of Sigmar or from the Kings of War, whatever other fantasy game that you're playing. And it looks to be a lot cheaper and a better quality. So just take that into consideration when you're doing this. So let's leave off on a good note. All this stuff is available right now with the exception of Monster Hunter and, of course, the Games Workshop stuff that's going to go on pre-order this week. And once that Monster Hunter Kickstarter goes, we're going to go ahead and cover it here on the channel because I'm thinking that gamers from all over are going to be interested in it, whether you're a tabletop skirmish player, tabletop wargamer, or collector, or a game master or player for role-playing games. I think everybody's going to have a little interest in it. So, my name is John. This is Havoc Maker Studio. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Down below, I also have the current contests that are going on for this channel. We get 100 subscribers by the end of the month. I'm going to be giving away some PDF copies of the upcoming Affinity books, and also for the Ruins of Symbaroum 5e. If we get to 100 followers, if we get to 1,000 followers by the end of the month, we're going to be giving hardcover copies of those books out as well. So multiple chances to win, and you're also automatically entered into any contest that I've got going on in the near future for miniatures, RPGs, paint sets, whatnot. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please leave me a thumbs up. I understand if you have to give me a thumbs down. Leave a comment. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. And I will see you guys in a few hours because we got some bad news coming down the line. See you later.